looking forward to seeing if Georgia is going to make the adjustment on defense. Um, if Georgia is able to make the adjustment on defense, and there's no reason to think they won't, uh, it really should be a dominant performance by UGA. If UGA shows up and plays just as good a defense as Auburn did, um, and it creates that kind of environment, I would have to lean more towards Georgia. I believe Georgia can score at least 21 to 24 points because we've done that already. I don't see their defense making any big changes enough to stop Georgia's offense, because Georgia's offense is just based off of efficiency. That's where we've been so good this year on offense, is just being consistent. I think that the defense was the big problem. Stetson Bennett threw a pick six and another interception that really hurt Georgia. If he doesn't do that and he plays efficiently, this should be Georgia's game.
I think that our guy Malari makes a pretty valid point here. He says, Stetson Bennett's a good quarterback, but do good quarterbacks beat Nick Saban? It's usually Johnny Manziel, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Cam Newton, Tim Tebow. Great college quarterbacks.
I agree, but I also
although I can think of not to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I can think of two decent Ole Miss quarterbacks that beat Alabama in 2014 and 15, Chad Kelly and Bo Wallace. So they did it.
There's a lot to be said out there for
Zach Calzada this year. I'm sorry, Brett.
No, you're good, man. Zach Calzada is definitely a quarterback that nobody, I would say, expected to beat Alabama, but we were all kind of shock and awe. I thought that was going to be the turning point for Alabama to become much more dominant throughout the season. And to see them continue to have some of the games they had, I was really surprised. They came out and they lost that game by 3 points. And that particular game was not even the most passing yards that Bryce Young had all season. He had some games where he had, far more yards. I don't know. I'm just not used to seeing Alabama play that way. And so that made me question what was going to happen the rest of the season. Texas A&M came out and won this game with 41 points, but they only had 285 yards in passing, which is not earth-shattering. They only had 94 yards in rushing. Now, Zach Calzada went for 21 to 31. So he's right around that, 64, 65%, nothing super elite, maybe almost 70%, which is really, starting to get up there. They only averaged 3.5 yards a rush, and they still put 41 points on the board.
They had a special teams touchdown. I know that.
Which Georgia's had quite a few of those over the season, so I wouldn't put that past Georgia. But it's just that was not a crazy dominant performance from a quarterback, in my opinion. I think it proves that they could go out and play a great game and win. I think that some of the other games that they played during the season, and I'm pointing at the Alabama-Auburn game, if they would have had a better quarterbacks, if Bo Nix would have done a better job in that game, they could have won that game. As a matter of fact, if Tank Bigsby just would have went down in bounds, they likely would have won that game.
Yes.
They had that game at near 100% probability. It's like 85% or something. With 4 minutes to go in the game, it was favored by wrong game, excuse me.
Oh,
Alabama was, yeah.
I bet it was Alabama like 98 or 99.
Yeah. It was. They should have won that game instead of losing that game.
Not that I agree with the probability, but there's validity there. But they throw a lot of 99% on there, and I'm like, no, this is not 99%. I bet it was 99%. I bet they had 99% before that they had to give the ball back at the end of the game.
with 2 minutes to go, it was 4-1, and Trey Sanders runs for no gain. That made it 4th and 1. Auburn had according to ESPN, so take it with a jar of salt. Had a 99.9% win probability. And so to me, I'm like, yeah, you should have won that game. I don't think Bo Nix had a very good game.
He didn't play.
No, it was TJ Finley. TJ Finley was playing that game, not Bo Nix.
He played on one leg. For one thing, he's not that good. Correct. Number two, he played on one leg.
And the crazy thing is that he was 17 for 26. So, he was still throwing around 65%.
Okay.
And not a dominant performance by a quarterback. Auburn's rushing. When I tell you the stats for this game, Auburn passing 137 yards. Auburn rushing 22. They could have won that game with less than 160 yards of total offense. So to say that Georgia doesn't have a chance in this game, I think you're ignoring way too much in the past.
All right, Brett. Well, we appreciate you being here. I don't know that you have too much more time, but if you do, if there's anything else you'd like to deliver before.
I think Ballard Sports Media has a question here. I have a question for Brett. Do you think the fact that UGA already lost to Bama is the big confidence booster because they can know what they did wrong the first time and turn it around? That's really a coaching aspect. I think that whenever you have a game where you lose, you do want to look at the tape, but you don't want to dwell on it. I think dwelling on it can be a big problem. I think what you want to do is go, okay, we made that mistake. Here's the adjustment we need to make, and we're going to move forward. I can 100% promise you that from the moment that game was over, Georgia studied as much as it needed to study to beat Michigan, and then everything else has been studying and making corrections for Alabama. Georgia at no time was studying to see what it was going to take to beat Cincinnati. They were studying Alabama. Rob D is asking, when will the video with Dean Legge be up? Dean was actually traveling through some pretty rough weather driving up to Indiana. He just messaged me a little while ago. He said they're still traveling right now. That was at 1:00, and they're traveling through 7 inches of snow. So yes, I'll be making that video with him once they get kind of settled. I don't think they planned for the Arctic apocalypse to drive through. So yes, but I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you. To answer to who Dean Legge is, I don't know if you know who Dean Legge is or not.
I don't.
Dean Legge is not just a YouTube personality, but he's also a reporter, and he's on dogpost.com. And he's actually been in college football and doing college football so long that he gets a Heisman vote. He gets the vote on a Heisman winner. So we're going to be doing a collaboration with him, hopefully either today or tomorrow. But the guy's he's like Mark. He's just so busy. He's hard to catch him. So we're trying to get that worked out with him. But Mark's good people. We're working with Mark today. Mark has been gracious enough to allow me to do some other content on the Voice of College Football Georgia channel and the Voice of College Football SEC channel. So make sure that you not just subscribe to Mark's channel here, but subscribe to those other channels as well.
Perfectly stated. You should be a pitch man. Very nice.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We really enjoy watching college football. Mark gets a unique perspective this year because he gets to continue analyzing and critiquing good college football teams, even though I personally think that Ohio State should have been in the number 4 spot. That's what I think. But I would have loved to have seen them go back. I will forever from now on until we play Ohio State be rooting for Ohio State versus Michigan just because of how friendly their fans were. So,
well, that's
I'm
nice.
now a quasi Ohio State fan.
Well, I think if we're just looking for the best 2 playoff games, we would have had Ohio State there. They didn't earn it. In no way did they earn it. But every metric in the country, and different people have football power index, and there are other ways they all spit out the same teams at the top. And all you have to do is watch the Rose Bowl and watch other games and look at the recruiting rankings, look at the team talent rankings. They go Alabama 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3. I think they would have had a better chance. Michigan fans won't like this because Michigan whipped Ohio State fair and square. That's a legit win. I'm not discounting that win in any way. Ohio State would have had a kind of much better chance against Georgia. I still think Georgia's the decided better team. Ohio State struggled on defense this year. And I think that to watch that offense against Georgia's defense would have been something else. Ohio State would have had some serious issues on defense, but that they've got to clean up this offseason. But it would have been a fun one to see.
I also would have enjoyed, to be honest with you. I mean, you have to tip your hat to the College Football Playoff Committee for putting an undefeated Cincinnati Bearcat team in there, even if they thought they were going to get demolished, because at some point you have to say, if this is fair, we have to say, you're undefeated. That's really hard to do. We're going to give you a shot. Now, if it happens a couple of times where these teams continue to get blown out, then you have to kind of go, we can't really in good faith put you in this. Now, if that had have been the case, I will tell you the three teams that I had as a toss-up. I had Michigan, Ohio State, and Baylor. I think you take away the 1-2 point loss that Baylor had at TCU. I think this is a really good ball club. I think it would have been interesting to watch. And by the way, the team they lost to earlier in the season, Oklahoma State, they beat number 5 Oklahoma State at the end of the season. So now they then they went out there and they beat a crippled up Ole Miss. But to me, I think Baylor had a really solid football team. They turned it around really well over there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do next year.